In this video, we'll break down the load step in pickleball footwork. We'll explore how weight transfer and body positioning impact shot execution. And we'll talk about modern pickleball movement that separates high-level players from amateurs. When executed correctly, it allows players to position their body efficiently for every shot. This breakdown focuses on how the load step works, how to execute it properly, and how it connects to different stance options depending on time and space. The load step is defined as the movement where a player shifts their weight onto the hitting side as the ball approaches. For a forehand, the majority of the weight moves onto the right side. This concept appears simple, but its effectiveness depends on how actively the weight transfer is performed. Rather than leaning passively, the load step requires an intentional movement. The weight must be stacked over the hitting side in a way that creates balance and readiness for the shot. This positioning aligns the body so that the player is stable and prepared to execute with control. The first component of the load step is the active transfer of weight. The key detail is that this movement is initiated from the non-hitting side. Instead of simply leaning toward the ball, the player pushes off the opposite leg to drive the weight across the body. For a forehand example, the process begins with a split step as the ball approaches. From there, the weight rolls toward the inside of the non-hitting foot. This foot then creates a strong push, similar to initiating a sprint. That push drives the body's weight quickly onto the hitting side. This approach is significantly more efficient than passive movement. Leaning may achieve a similar end position, but it lacks speed and control. The push-based transfer ensures that the player arrives in position earlier and with better balance. Once the weight shift is established, the next component is adding a slight body turn. This rotation is essential because it aligns the paddle with the shot without forcing the arm to compensate. If the player only shifts weight without rotating, the paddle must move independently across the body to reach the ball. This creates inefficiency and reduces control. The goal is to have the body and paddle aligned together. The rotation begins with the foot on the non-hitting side. As the push occurs, that foot rotates slightly inward, which turns the knee. This movement then carries into the hips, causing the entire body to rotate. As the hips turn, the upper body and paddle follow naturally. This creates a connected movement where the paddle is already positioned correctly by the time the ball arrives. The result is a more efficient and controlled swing. After completing the load step, the player must decide how to execute the shot based on the available time and space. This decision determines whether to use an open stance or transition into a closed stance. When the ball arrives quickly and there is limited space, the player remains in an open stance. In this situation, the shot is executed directly from the loaded position without additional steps. This is common in fast exchanges such as dinking or transition zone play, where simplicity and quick reactions are necessary. When there is more time and space, the player can transition into a closed stance. After the load step, the non-hitting foot steps forward, allowing the player to move into the ball. This adds body weight and momentum to the shot, increasing power. This option is often used from the baseline or in situations where the player can step into the ball. The added movement allows for stronger contact and more aggressive execution. Despite these differences, the initial load step remains the same in both cases. The decision between open and closed stance happens only after the load is completed. This consistency ensures that the player is always prepared before choosing how to finish the shot. The load step is most commonly used when moving toward the hitting side. Anytime a player must move laterally to reach a ball, this movement pattern provides the foundation for proper positioning. Whether the shot is a dink, volley, drive, or drop, the same principle applies. The player moves toward the ball, loads onto the hitting side, and prepares the body for contact. This creates a repeatable system that works across different situations. However, there are exceptions. When a ball comes directly at the body, loading toward the hitting side can actually create problems. In these cases, the player may need to move in the opposite direction to create space. For example, if the ball is approaching the body, shifting toward the hitting side can cause the player to become jammed. Instead, moving away from the ball creates the necessary room to execute the shot effectively. These exceptions highlight that while the load step is a foundational movement, it must be applied with awareness of the situation. Understanding when to use it and when to adjust is part of advanced footwork. The load step is a fundamental movement that shapes how players position themselves for every shot. By actively shifting weight, adding controlled rotation, and maintaining consistency in preparation, Players create a stable and efficient foundation for execution. When applied correctly, the load step improves balance, timing, and overall shot quality, making it a critical component of high-level pickleball footwork.